Welcome, everybody. I'm Joe from the Game House. Today we'll be doing a Dallas Cowboys 2025 NFL mock draft. Welcome, everybody. We have the Dallas Cowboys on the clock for the 2025 NFL mock draft series here at the Game House. They have pick number 12. We're going through every team at least once before free agency and then trying to do it again once after free agency as the rosters will change at that point. We'll be using the NFL mock draft database simulator. I like it because it meshes big boards from across the internet together to make their big board, so it's not just one site's big board or another site's. And we'll be rejecting all trades to keep it as realistic as possible. Now, the Cowboys are in a rough spot. The Jones brothers have kind of turned it into a mess, and they have to try to get out of it. So that's what we're going to try to do today. We don't know what free agency is going to look like. We don't know what any trades are going to look like. We do know they have some extensions to get done, most notably Micah Parsons. So we're going to go through this and try to get the best team possible, all while knowing that it's not a great situation from the start. At the first pick, let's go Ashton Genty. Fix that running back room. They still have some good offensive linemen. We'll see which ones come back or some leave in free agency. But Ashton Genty to start to kind of help Dak Prescott as he gets back from injury, kind of help this offense, I think would not be a bad idea. Next one up, could go wide receiver. That is a big need. I think there might be more value in that later. And let's go Let's go JT Tuimoloau out of Ohio State, a bigger edge rusher, but I think could be really good. You have Micah Parsons' speed on one side, his power on the other. Could be tough for offenses to kind of figure out how to block them. Maybe not the best pick after Donovan Ezeraku falls here, but different types of players at least. So we'll see how it goes. Uh, Next one up. There's a lot of quarterbacks at the top. Um, let's do Xavier Restrepo out of Miami. Now, probably the most reliable receiver left on the board. And a guy that I think can play in the slot, can play out of the slot. So you have to figure out how you're going to play him along with CD Lamb. But at this point, you get a guy who can maybe be a factor for this team from right away. That's really big. And I think that it could make the offense a little bit more dynamic this season. Now, at this point for the Cowboys, looking for maybe a defensive line depth. Their defensive line wasn't great. I'm hoping at this rate, if this is the way the mock draft goes, that they maybe shored that up in free agency, but you never know with the Cowboys how they're going to do things. Let's do Ty Hamilton, the defensive lineman out of Ohio State. I think he can be a good rotational defensive lineman. I don't know if he'll ever develop into a great starter, but I think at this point, I think you have to feel good about getting someone like him. All right, next one up. Let's go Ozzie Trapilo, the offensive tackle out of Boston College. We have a couple picks almost back to back to back almost here. Trapilo is a guy who's kind of rising up draft boards as we speak, so good to note that. And next up, let's go Sebastian Castro, who's a versatile guy. Don't know if he's going to play safety, if he's going to play nickel at the next level, but a guy who I think can create an impact. And then, tough here. Might double up on receivers. They definitely need receiver help. Let's go Pat Bryant, the wide receiver out of Illinois, a bigger bodied wide receiver, and maybe a little bit different than Restrepo too. So you have a couple different looks of rookies who could pan out. And three picks within six of them are pretty good. And then we have pick 190 now to work with as well. Let's go Upton Stout, the corner out of Western Kentucky, a guy who's been on radars for a while, a very good player at Western Kentucky. We'll have to see how he adjusts to the step up in competition at the NFL level, but I think he's pretty good nonetheless. And I think we're going to double up on defensive linemen here too, because I really like um, Howard Cross out of Notre Dame. A little bit undersized for the position, but gives you a different look than Ty Hamilton and gives you more players who could pan out. Again, at this rate, you're not looking at these guys that may not necessarily start in the NFL from year one, but maybe they develop. And if you get the right picks here, you can maybe do a pretty good job of developing them and getting something out of them for the future. Next one up. I think Luke Kandra is really a lot better than people are giving him credit for. So let's go Luke Kandra. Let's get the interior offensive lineman there. Again, maybe you develop him into something. You have a lot of uneasiness about how the offensive line is going to go for the future, but let's see how this mock draft went for the Cowboys. We're going to get Ashton Genty, the running back out of Boise State. Jerry likes to make a splash. I think it could be the splash that they need to just to get that running game going behind a decent but not the same offensive line of what they had in the past. JT Toimoloau kind of go across on Micah Parsons as an edge rusher, a different type of edge rusher though, so maybe gives or offenses different looks to look at there. Xavier Restrepo, the wide receiver out of Miami, a guy who can play in the slot, he can play out of the slot. I think he's going to be a guy who they can move around and use to his best abilities, much like they do CD Lamb. Ty Hamilton, the defensive lineman out of Ohio State, to get some depth there. Ozzie Trapilo, the offensive tackle out of Boston College. Sebastian Castro, the safety or nickel corner out of Iowa. Pat Bryant, the wide receiver out of Illinois, bigger body guy. Easton Stout, the corner out of Western Kentucky. Howard Cross, the defensive lineman out of Notre Dame. And Luke Kandra, the interior offensive lineman out of Cincinnati. Let me know what you think of this mock draft down in the comments below. I like this one, but let me know how you feel. We'll be doing NFL mock drafts for every NFL team, again, before free agency, and then trying to do it again after, before we get to the 2025 NFL draft. For now, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.